Hi, I'm Dr. David Young. Now, as you can probably hear, my background is East London Cockney, which means that my pronunciations are not always going to be standard English, but that's okay. Know what I mean? Now, my area of research is thinking, consciousness, and intelligence. Intelligence is often thought of as being a commodity. People have it or don't. There are intelligent people, and there are not so intelligent people. My research suggests that this is not so. Intelligence comes from making intelligent decisions, and intelligence is part of a trilogy: thinking, consciousness, and intelligence. Now, this means there is no such thing as an intelligent person or an unintelligent person, because we can all learn to make intelligent decisions. It is often assumed that a rocket scientist needs to be very intelligent. This is not so. A rocket scientist is required to have a high level of education. A rocket scientist is required to be highly skilled, but intelligence is not part of the job description. We have military aircraft that fly at twice the speed of sound, that can deliver nuclear warheads over long distances. Soon they will be replaced by newer aircraft that can fly at 3 times the speed of sound and carry twice as many warheads over even greater distances. The old aircraft will be sent to landfill. This is all very clever, but is it intelligent? Clever does because clever can. It will climb a mountain because it is there. Intelligence asks whether the mountain needs to be climbed. Clever is often mistaken for intelligence because what clever does can be seen, but we cannot see what an intelligent person decides what not to do. Intelligence is often invisible. Consciousness is a difficult concept because it means so many different things to so many different people. The sense I'm using consciousness in is the consciousness of the world we live in. Now, aligned with consciousness, our perception of the world is sense certainty. Sense certainty is how much can we trust the information to supplied to us by our senses. Is that information complete? What is hidden? And then we go down to perception. Perception is our sense certainty passed through our judgment system. So the world becomes the world we judge it to be. This totally destroys our consciousness if our judgment system is overactive. So, whilst we may believe the world that we see or believe the world of our judgment to be the one true world, it is only the world of our judgment. How consciously do we see our world? The Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu wrote, "See without desire, see the mystery. See with desire, see only the manifestation." This is the key to consciousness. Without desire or judgment, we can see the world as it is. With judgment, we only see the world according to the how we judge it to be. The beginning of intelligence, the consciousness of seeing the world as it is, rather than how we judge it to be. George Hegel wrote of 3 levels of consciousness, the first level being the lowest. He described the first level consciousness thus: this conceit which understands how to belittle every truth in order to turn back on itself and gloat over its understanding, which knows how to dissolve every thought and always finds the same barren ego instead of any content. With this level of consciousness, we see only the fruits of our judgment. This is the level of consciousness that knows everything but understands nothing. They are always right and everybody else is always wrong. They know everything because they are rocket scientists, and so they are obviously the most intelligent person in the room. The most unfortunate part of first level consciousness is that it seeks to elevate self by putting the other down. If a person with first level consciousness makes a judgment that the world is populated by pink elephants, then we must all live in a world populated by pink elephants. Because obviously their world is the only real world, so that is how it must be. At this point, I must say that education has nothing to do with consciousness or intelligence. A university professor may have a high level of education, but that has nothing to do with consciousness. A university professor may be stuck in a world of pink elephants, whilst ordinary people with very ordinary jobs can be fully conscious of the world as it is. You probably know someone living with first level consciousness, but if you don't, just turn on the evening news and watch politicians tell how they are always right and they are the only person who can save this country from total disaster. Even more interesting is to watch a political debate. Here, a gaggle of pollies will be screeching at each other that they are right and all the others are total idiots. The format never changes. They are, all of them, self-proclaimed geniuses and completely right and complete idiots all at the same time. Even if one judges that they will see only love, it makes no difference. For all of their proclaimed love, they are still incapable of intelligent decisions because their world is a world of judgment of how they would like things to be, not the consciousness of reality. Second level consciousness begins with the almost unthinkable. Maybe I'm not always completely right. I'm never wrong, of course, but maybe only 98% right. This level of consciousness begins with seeing, often for the first time, that there may be, just maybe, alternatives. Maybe not all the elephants are pink. Maybe now and again there are green ones. Then comes the great disaster. At some point, I might have to choose between the pink ones and the green ones. It is a need to choose that is a great disaster because it means that, maybe for the first time, there is the need to think. The world is full of choices, and discovering this after a lifetime of judgment can be hard. With judgment, there are no choices. With judgment, everything is preordained compliance to robotic behavior with the sure and certain knowledge that we are right. Thinking is a trilogy. There are the alternatives, we could do this, we could do that, and the act of deciding between the two is the third element. This is called thinking. Now, human existence is full of trilogies. There is the soul and the ego and the person. We hear body, soul, mind. There are people that say that our overall energy is made up of male and female energy. There is left brain, right brain forming the total brain. Now, in my book, I call the two elements of the trilogy the twins. I call them the twins so that I can avoid any form of judgment, such as the soul being good and the ego being bad. But this is one of the things that is part of our human makeup. So, studying human behavior, it is always useful to look for the trilogy. The problem with first level consciousness is that trilogy does not exist. There are no alternatives. So it becomes strictly dogmatic, robotic behavior that follows a set pattern that never changes. Now, but here we have second level consciousness, we have alternatives, so we are forced to think. Now, there is a major warning here. The easiest and quickest way to lose friends is to start thinking. You are the member of a religious cult. You worship the leader, Her Holiness the Right Reverend Davis, only keeper of the divine celestial secret of the Great Pumpkin. You believe without questions her teachings that in the last second before the coming of the nuclear Armageddon, the Great Pumpkin will send a glorious starship and all true believers will be beamed aboard to be transported to a special paradise built for them and them alone. Those left behind will suffer unbelievable agony in the pits of hell. Then you have your first thought. What happens if the starship is late? The immediate consequences is that all your loving, caring friends in the cult will turn on you, snarling and cursing. You are driven out of the fold to the screams of the mob, telling you you are a heretic, a blasphemer, and that your punishment in hell will be twice as bad as those who have never heard of the Great Pumpkin. This is an extreme but not uncommon experience. It can be expected that if any contrary view to the group norms are expressed, all your Facebook friends will walk away. A few true friends will stay. They will probably be, like yourself, those who question the group norms. The loss of friends and the questioning of position in life are a real factor in keeping a person locked in first level consciousness. I would liken this stage along the path to consciousness to be like sitting in a railway station, waiting for a train that never comes, and having no idea where the train is going when it does arrive. The train will arrive when the passenger is ready to board, and the destination will be wherever the passenger wants to go. At this stage, I need to say that I am a doctor of philosophy, not a medical doctor, so I cannot give medical advice. Now, many people will arrive at this stage of their consciousness via major life trauma, maybe bereavement, divorce, drugs, alcohol, whatever. But some major trauma that has totally destroyed everything that they know, and they have to start rebuilding their lives. Now, if this is how you have arrived at this point, and you need to seek help, please seek professional help. There's no shame in this. In fact, it is the intelligent thing to do. There are also any number of support groups out there populated by people who are willing and able to help you navigate through this very difficult time of life. So please, if you need help, seek it. Thank you. Third level consciousness has two layers, the internal and the external. This is what Hegel called self-consciousness, but I prefer internal consciousness. I prefer internal consciousness because of the drifting meaning from the days of Hegel until now. Plato said that we know who we are by who we are not, but Hegel added yet and made it we know who we are by who we are not yet. This not yet is the third level consciousness that is always in a state of becoming. This becoming has two aspects, the internal and the external. The world we live in is highly complex, and once we go past judgment, there are a multitude of alternatives that have to be brought together somehow to make them manageable. This is the process of combining the confusion of the world into a manageable synthesis that is greater than the sum of the parts. This becomes a framework for decision making. On the surface, this is very much like judgment, but it is not. What makes synthesis different from a judgment system is that our world is a world that does not stand still. It charges around in what may seem to be a chaotic manner, meaning that our synthesis is continually needing to be updated. It is always in a state of becoming because it can never reach its final state in a continually changing world. Another complication for third level consciousness are the elephants hiding in the bushes. Our world is only our perception from a very narrow perspective, both physically and in every other way. Our synthesis is built upon limited knowledge, so when we make decisions, they are the best we can be with what is known and understood in the moment. Intelligent decisions are not singular. They are continually being updated as available information changes. This is the difference between judgmental, first level consciousness decisions and third level intelligent decisions. The judgments we made 10 years ago are the same decisions we make today, even though the world of 10 years ago no longer exists. Intelligent decisions are today's intelligent decisions. Yesterday they would have been different. Tomorrow they will be different again. Intelligence is always in a state of becoming. And now we come to the final part, intelligence. But before that, there is another trilogy. We live in a physical body. That physical body resides in a physical world. But there is some entity that thinks and makes decisions. There is somehow some ghost in the machine. This ghost in the machine might be purely a function of the machine, but it might be, as many believe to be, a spiritual being that resides in the body. We are at a stage with science now that we cannot know. But that entity must exist, otherwise we could not think, we could not have alternatives, and we could not have consciousness. Now, consciousness gives us now a reasonable facsimile of the world that we live in. It may not be totally accurate, but it's accurate enough to make decisions. Is this world the world we want to live in? Would we like to make changes? Do we need a makeover? Maybe we need a total change. That is the decision of the ghost in the machine. Now, together with consciousness, the ghost in the machine looks at the alternatives available. What do I need to do to make the world that I want to live in? Then it makes decisions. And these are intelligent decisions because they are being used to create the world that the person wants to live in. But what do we know about this person? How can we possibly know who this person is? It's the old story. So without, so within. You are known by your actions. So all the time that we have been working towards external consciousness, we've also been working with internal consciousness because the two mirror each other. So by understanding how I am acting in the world, we can know how our internal self is acting and behaving, which of course is always in a state of becoming because the world is always changing. This is Hegel's self-consciousness and what I call internal consciousness. So this is what intelligence is. It's about making intelligent decisions to guide the world that we want to live in into being. There is a world as it is now, and the world that we want to create. It is about creating the world as we want it to be. So that is the trilogy, for now, of thinking, consciousness, and intelligence. That is the end of this video. There will be others, I hope. But for now, that is the end. Now, please stay around for the commercial. This is the commercial. Now, this is a new channel. Whether or not it survives, whether or not there is any more videos, will depend on a algorithm that bears a strong resemblance to first level consciousness. It will decide between showing this channel and a channel showing little kittens getting tangled up in the strings of helium balloons and drifting off into the universe. It's rather sad, but that's the way it is. Now, to play the YouTube game and survive, I have to ask for your likes, your subscriptions, and your comments, because this is all that the algorithm works on at the moment. Yeah, they will probably change the algorithm tomorrow. I don't know, but that's the way it is at the moment. So please like, subscribe, and comment if you would like to see this channel survive. Thank you.